Sharon Allen comes from a line of strong, independent women. Her grandmother was a college graduate, and her great-grandmother, Bertha Irwin, was one of the first women in the Idaho legislature. Born and raised in Kimberly, Idaho, a small town southeast of Boise, Sharon was the youngest of 4 daughters. Growing up, Sharon was an active girl, involving herself in everything from 4-H to debate. She was always busy, always involved. In high school, Sharon considered becoming a nurse or a teacher. After graduation, she enrolled at the University of Idaho in the College of Education.
My roommate at that time, Judy Oakley, actually, I call her responsible for my career. You know, she was an accounting major, and I was an education major, and she encouraged me to take an accounting class. She got the education degree, I got the accounting degree. Thank you, Judy.
It was at the University of Idaho that Sharon would meet her husband, Richard Allen. They met on campus through the Greek system and have been inseparable ever since.
I think he's been a big part of her success. They're a great couple. He's been very supportive. It's just been a great relationship.
Classmate and longtime friend Richard Dahl recalls when he first met Sharon.
I came over from the School of Engineering in my sophomore, junior year, and she was already there. She was the brightest, prettiest girl in the accounting department.
When I started in the public accounting field, I don't remember any women being in the office other than, secretaries or things. Today, if you take that profession, it's a very diverse field. And so I think Sharon's been one of the pioneers, to break that down.
Only about 5% of Sharon's classmates were women. It turned out to be an advantage for her, for when she graduated, companies were beginning to diversify and were eager to hire women.
I certainly couldn't forget the hours that I spent working at the student union in the programs office with Imogene Rush. You know, I was at that point in my life that I realized I was a lousy secretary, and I better really study for those accounting classes that I was taking.
We both were hired, fortunately. We were both glad about that, I remember.
Because when I studied as a student at the University of Idaho, the motto at that time was, from here, you can go anywhere. And I took that guidance to heart. From Boise to the boardroom, as we often say, with some interesting switchbacks along the way.
Upon graduating from the University of Idaho, Sharon was offered a position at the Boise office of Deloitte. Sharon would spend 24 years in the Boise office. After 10 of those years, she became a partner and got involved with company-wide advisory committees. She began receiving offers for advancement within the company that would have required her to move. But she and her husband weren't ready to leave Boise yet, so they stayed put. Just 5 years after becoming partner, Sharon became the managing partner of the Boise office, and shortly after that, she was elected to the National Board of Directors. The company continued to offer her different positions, but Sharon continued to stick to her roots and stayed in Idaho. Finally, in 1995, Sharon and Rich decided they were ready to move. Rich had sold his business in Boise, which resulted in the two having more freedom. Sharon began actively searching within Deloitte for her next step. In 1997, Sharon found a good match and moved to become the managing partner in Portland, Oregon. Just 2 years later, she moved again to become the regional managing partner in Los Angeles.
When I went to LA, the Pacific Southwest region, we had 2,500 people there. More, as I said at the time, than my hometown.
4 years later, in 2003, Sharon Allen was tapped as the first female chairman of the board for Deloitte US.
She became the chairman of Deloitte and Touche, which she still is, which is an incredible feat, for anybody. I don't care where you're from.
I think she's got this great sense of herself, of, okay, I'm doing this, I've got this job, it's important to do. But I think there's going to be a lot more chapters written about Sharon Allen.
Sharon Allen, from Boise to the boardroom, a legacy of leading.